Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spar and Brawl. I hope you're having a decent day. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Sam. We're back with a new episode of Progressive Tweets. So this should be a good one. It should be pretty packed. So you can find timestamps down below. And please like and also consider subscribing if you've been watching us for a while. But okay, Sam, should we get right into it? Do you want to get us started with the first set of tweets? The first few have to do with Paul Mason.
Sure, this is a bit old, and as probably regular viewers know, and a lot of other people know, Paul Mason turned out his emails, some of his email was leaked, and turned out he has gone pretty much full fucking Glenn Beck crazy and has set up a room with all, there's a map he's created of all the left-wing groups that influence the black community and the white community, sorry, and the not the white community, the Arab community, the Muslims, and then it's the weirdest thing. It's just the man has gone mad fully. And in his email leak, one of the things he talks about is that him and Amil Khan, one of his contacts, they should try to establish contact with intelligence operations or that type of thing. And he mentions Bellingcat, somebody who Aaron Matt and Jimmy Dore and others have done a lot of things. They argue that it's intelligence sort of a intelligence PR sort of organization rather than actually telling the truth. So that's in one of his emails. He suggests that Bellingcat is an intelligence operation rather than a real media operation. And because these emails are leaked and Bellingcat is very much in his corner of politics, anti-Russia, anti-Syria, anti-anything that is, anti-NATO. So in damage control mode, and Navarro Media covers this greatly too. In damage control mode, he tweeted, "I would like to thank everyone who has helped me understand the Russian hack and leak attack on me, including Elliot Higgins of Bellingcat, who are, of course, 100% independent investigation group and a vital ally in the struggle against disinformation from all states." I swear to God, if I didn't know that background, I would have thought he's making a joke, like, who, of course, 100% independent investigation. Of course, 100%. So, and then three hands like that.
Yeah.
And he loves that three. He puts that all the time. So he's in
What's up with this guy? Oh my God. And anybody, if they want to learn more about him, they should for sure go check out the Gray Zone article. So they describe this whole saga, what is going on. But we also have a video on him called Character Assassination. It's a relatively recent video. So if you just put his name, Sam gives you a little overview of who Paul Mason is. He hasn't always been this person. Yeah, and people in our comment section also point out how he didn't used to be this person. But man, I've seen the picture or like a recreation of his little thing with like this information. He's gone crazy. Huh? anybody who makes those charts, unless they work for the FBI or they're a 16-year-old getting ready for exams, anything else between these two, there's a good chance they're plotting something.
Or they're just mad.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that. I was just looking for a nicer way.
It's so funny because it's like, Gray Zone, Navarro Media. It's like, what are you talking like? Have you seen
especially Navarro Media, man. I mean,
Navarro Media is so middle of the road. I mean,
on so many issues.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
On so many issues, it's just.
Then his contact and his friend.
Sorry. Before you read that, is this guy? Who is this guy? Do you know about this guy? Like, is he also a famous journalist or reporter or something?
Emil Yes, not that I know of, but what I do know of him from the article, I remember that he has set up a counter misinformation company a couple of years ago. He seems like one of these. To be honest, I was thinking of becoming like that because it was so easy at some point that you were going to these meetings with rich people in Silicon Valley and equivalent of that in Iran and stuff. And, they would invest they're idiots. They would invest in a lot of shit. Yeah. And he's probably got some idiots after 2016. He got some idiots to invest in his counter misinformation startup. Who the fuck knows what that is? I assume it's a bunch of idiots just going that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, that's all I know about him. But apparently there is something which I assume that viewers will be more informed than me. So I thought maybe they can clear up us. But it seems that there were four messages or more that he tweeted. I didn't have the will to read them all. But he says thanks to Anjo for acting in good faith, admitting the fault. However, some major issues to consider here. How did this happen? Where did this false information first come from? Was the CNN article a rewrite of CNN? I'm not sure. Sorry, that part is. I think it's CNN. A rewrite of uncorroborated information from Grey Zone article. And apparently,
and who's Anjo? Sorry.
It was that person had tweeted admitting that there was a correction in the article about Amir Khan, and then Amir Khan was going, this proves everything about this fake. No. This is, oh my God, you have undermined your whole credibility. I cannot do this anymore. Don't talk to the hand. Don't talk. So he was doing that. And then, as I was scrolling through juicy bits for our show, I came across something that almost makes me believe all conspiracy theories that I have in my head, that all the right-wingers and psychopaths in all the countries are connected through a hive mind of some kind. Because I came across a tweet from Paul Mason retweeting who?
How?
Who? Nomiki.
How would he know her? I mean, I guess this shows how ignorant I am, because I'm all in the YouTube world and I didn't know Nomiki, but I guess Nomiki from her previous more mainstream days, like a few years ago, has made some weird friends.
Man, Nomiki, I remember 2-3 years ago, maybe it was 4 years ago, she appeared on Novara Media as a sort of American expert, and she was explaining stuff, and she was that was one of the early times I was like, what is wrong with her now? Because this was like after she did that whole delegation thingy for Bernie Sanders. It's just, and by the way, I don't know what the tweet is about. I don't care. It's something in Spanish about Puerto Rico, I believe, because there's hashtag. Can you've done Portuguese? It's basically Spanish. Can you read?
His same friends here.
Amigos.
I can show.
I knew that.
A public column by Nuva Mia Sobre about how problems in New York are going to Puerto Rico. I mean, see, that I don't know. That
he's trying to connect
something about
New York
problem in New York, and we're gonna go after this. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a decent effort.
I told you it's basically
Cam, you can actually read Japanese. No. Try hard.
Try.
Cam, listen to me. Try hard. Sorry if someone else has to do it. It's from the last video. I'm sure you've seen it.
The secret is actually true. If you will it, you can do it. Man, then I went on her page just to check it out, and Jesus Christ, she's going hard on the whole Greek thing. I know, as one of our viewers pointed out, it's like the second highest population of Greek outside of Greece, but pictures with her grandfather and then herself in Greece doing this, and sort of she's a red mermaid through the field. It's like, it reminds me of perfume ad. Somebody, and then there is house.
She took such a funny
I am
picture.
Connected with, like, you almost expect her to have a hand in the sand and like, I am connected to my roots.
I swear to God, it's such cliche set of pictures. I mean, these pictures say so much. But what I love, though, the one on the right, this is a bit different. So you see a little bit of her, right? It kind of reminds me of how my parents take pictures, because anytime my wife or friends want me to take pictures, it's only them, like maybe see a little bit of background, but all about them. My parents, they take a picture and like, I'm in there, but like, they're interested in the background of the background.
I want this, man. I don't get missed.
She took one of those.
No, this is just so like I am looking at the sunset.
This is too funny.
Thinking of my ancestors who fought for democracy. Oh, come on. My grandfather was a Greek minority in Haksha, I don't know, Albania. And one day he was asked by a fellow teacher in his very small border village in the mountains to help Haksa against the Greeks. My grandfather said, wait, so you're telling me to spy against my blood relatives? Which, Okay, very interesting story, but it's so weird because it undermines the whole. So the Hoxha were eliminating the Greeks, but also we're going to the Greeks and saying, so can you help us with eliminating you? Is that a
Hey, that
possibility?
happens,
I
right?
mean, I'm sorry, but yeah, that's probably why the Greek nationalists won because I mean, if you were that shit, like like. Is there any chance you could just jump from that cliff? I don't have the time to organize a militia to come after you. So it does feel weird from the things I hear from usually racist groups. They don't tend to go ask around, but
Hey, maybe
it
they
was
do. They
interesting.
need to recruit some insiders. You never know. But man,
Sure,
people
but
lean into their things like,
what
I mean, just the other
yeah,
day was making me realize, I
silly
mean,
bunch.
I have an extremely good and fortunate life, but I was like, if it's about leaning into stuff, there's a lot of things you can lean into, especially when someone doesn't know you well. Like, I mean, what do people know about my background? There are a few things I could easily lean on, which others will know, but like, just if you're always
Internet's
looking
made it
around and
harder.
look, yeah, it's made it harder, but if you want, you can still
But
lean into things. I mean,
But how can you lean on your ancestor? I never, I mean, I like my ancestry, but it's again like when you're proud of like, oil underneath.
man,
Like, what did you have
yeah.
to do with it? Like,
No,
it's like,
Mickey's going so hard on this Greek thing, though. I mean, maybe that's all
I
because
don't
she
know.
has no way
Can
of
somebody,
differentiating herself.
and, and is there like big sort of, are there, I don't know, but is there in New York like Greek community has the same issues? Like, are they
That's the thing too,
discriminated
right?
or do
That's the
they
thing
live in the,
too.
yeah, I don't know
Exactly.
what's
Because you
going
can
on.
have
Like,
a lot of people from a particular geographic area living, but they don't
but
always mobilize in the same way that some other
yeah,
communities
exactly.
might. Like it's sometimes it doesn't really make like
Iranians, it's
sense.
almost the impossibility.
Yeah.
The last
So
time we tried to mobilize, just
so I don't
ended
know
up
how
in.
Greeks are in but she's saying, but sometimes like over
What
reliance.
I hear,
It's
not just
reminding
this.
me a bit of Andrew Yang when he like suddenly thought like, okay, let me
Oh,
just make
Asian
all
thing.
Jewish people happy in New York,
Oh, that
and that
Jewish thing.
kind of
Yeah.
backfired on him. So that was different, but sometimes leaning in these transparent ways can
Or I don't
backfire.
know, like if you're Greek, if like you're Greek that hasn't voted usually in a state senate because usually
Yeah.
they have a lower turnout. Like now, because somebody Greek is going to be in a state senate, you're like, oh, representation for my
Yeah.
people. Like,
It could, but it's not always like that. Like it really could, exactly. It depends
I don't know.
what
I
the people
doubt
are
it.
into. Some might not. What are the different social classes who live there? Because social classes usually trump any
Okay.
kind of other affiliation you might have. Like, yeah, they're Greek, but they're the poor kind. No, I'm joking. We want the rich people interest. I don't know. I'm just making stuff
You're
up.
a store brand Greeks. We like high end Greek people.
So yeah, I don't. This
Okay.
Noviki thing is hilarious. This is just amazing. Go for it.
Yeah. So then from Greece to our blood relatives, and the enemy of the Greeks. So Dr. Mehmet Oz, as you know, has officially now has won the Republican primary and is going to go against John Fetterman. He tweeted something bullshit like having the support of leaders like President Trump, Sean Hannity, Rick Perry, Richard Grenell, Dr. Ben Carson, Ted Nugent, and exactly what a list, and Jeffrey Dahmer, Mussolini, Paul Pot, all the psychopaths that are around, like basically Ted Nugent. How did he get that? Anyway, and more means the world to me and my family. Of course it does. Then Judd Apatow, a director who I used to really like, man, but recently did that movie I was looking forward to, and then I watched it. What was the movie? I can't even remember the name. Peter
Yeah, the new
Sernal,
one.
which was in it, and his wife and um, David Duchovny. Anyway, but he tweeted, "What happened to you? Is it worth it? I guess you never did an episode about selling your soul." What are you talking about, Judd Apatow? Mehmet Oz is somebody who was like he was probably kicked out of Turkey for being too much of a snake's oil salesman. And we're talking about Turkey. Like from what didn't he get famous on Oprah? And then he became super famous. From what I remember,
Yeah.
he got famous on Oprah, and he came in front of the Senate or Congress, and he said, "Yeah, My show is entertainment. That's why the DR is very small. Oz, and he's clearly referring to the Oz, the man, the magician behind the the whole, what is that? The Dorothy and all that. The book. You don't know, but people. But yeah, it's like he's always been a snake oil salesman, huckster. He's a hack. He's always been. What are you talking about? Like, what
I guess
was
it's the Donald Trump thing, right?
Before.
I'm guessing Judd Apatow is a Democrat.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's the thing, probably, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? He's like, what happened to you, like, in the sense that, before you were associated with Oprah and others, and now look who you listed. And I mean, he did, like, none of these people are like ambiguous. It's not like, like this person's like that. Like, he really picked like Trump, Hannity, Rick Perry, Ben Carson,
the rapist of New York, the killer, the serial killer of Washington. Every fucking psychopath, basically.
No, there was a strict criteria. Not anybody could pass the list. So, like, okay, 15 offenses, good. Okay, delinquent from a young age. But I mean, look at the lineup we have. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Has there been any sexual allegations from a minor? No, but couple of 18-year-olds.
No, sorry.
Get out.
Have you ever stolen from your own family? No, only extended.
Get out.
Okay.
How many times have you cheated on your wife?
In the past week. Yeah, I mean, if you make it on this list, you should really be proud of yourself, because it is like
you're getting like a bureaucratic position in hell or something. You're not just
for life.
But I love the fact that if it was a Democrat, they would at least included one female just for the sake of it. This is just, no, fuck it, just the guys: Trump, Sean, Rick, Richard, Ben, Ted, Eddie, Johnny, Mahmoud, Ahmed, Abbas. Suddenly getting really as well.
What a list. Dr. Oz. Hey.
He's amazing. In a way, I don't know. I love him. I hate him because he's taking advantage of really poor people, mostly people. But at the same time, he's so apparent when he's taking advantage. You're like, good for you, man. Like, there has to be, some tax.
That's what I'm saying. People. This list, he didn't, he didn't mince his word or anything. He'll be like, yeah, these are the people.
It more means the word to me and my family.
I know.
I feel like my family. How did we get into this? Leave us alone out of your shit career in politics.
Man, what can you say?
Anyways, so I thought that was a good thing.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. Man, the things that people put on Twitter, man.
Yeah, well, the things that people put on YouTube, some people, but yeah.
Twitter amazes me more because I know in the video you can get carried away. Yeah. It's a long video, but the tweet, you write it, at least you read it once, or twice usually, to make sure that it makes sense. So you work on this little thing for a few times and then you're like, okay, now I'm happy. Click send.
Yeah. No, you're completely... No, I don't know why, but when you write, there does seem to be more weight to it than when you're talking. And anyways. Okay, shall we move on?
Yeah.
All right, then I have this Matt Taibbi retweeted and then tweeted about, like, this movie basically came out. That's the context. This movie came out, What is a Woman, by Daily Vibe, produced by Ben Shapiro, who, by the way, I'll talk about that later, but who I find to be one of the most disgusting, like, I can't believe he's like a human. Like,
this is the Ben Shapiro movie you're talking about right now.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Ben Shapiro. The fact that Ben Shapiro is human, is really disappointing to me. But whatever. That's apparently his DNA thing is, whatever. But then he made this movie. It's caused a lot of backlash in the progressive community. But it's about the trans issue, which we talked about a couple of times, and I'm doing a lot of research and reading about. So I thought I'd talk about that. There was one by Elon Musk, which Matt Taibbi retweeted, and we come back to Elon Musk in a bit. We are simultaneously being told that gender differences do not exist and that genders are so profoundly different that irreversible surgery is the only option. Perhaps someone wiser than me can explain this dichotomy. And while I don't think that's exactly what is said in progressive books that I've seen, but I do think in the general media that does seem, because you're constantly told that you can choose your gender, but at the same time, like gender is such a core part of your identity that it like almost overrides all the other ones. Not that I don't think gender matters, but I personally don't view it as that important.
So yeah, I think he's touching on something too that I've also found a bit strange. Now,
at least, yeah.
To each their own and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with that. But if someone makes both of these arguments, and that's if someone a lot, because I definitely agree with, if you say, it is a bit weird, especially if a person themselves, because you say that, okay, there are like any kind gender, there's like a million of them, you are who you want to be, and you don't have to do anything that you don't want to because you're a certain sex or anything. So there are a million kinds of genders. But then, at the same time, you say that, oh, okay, but there are, two sexes and I really want to switch that sex. So if someone is making both of those, I do think that there is a bit of a
cognitive dissonance.
But you can, there are ways I would assume you could perhaps justify both of them kind of, although not really, because if you say if a male or female can be whoever they want, regardless of their sex, one or two small things, right? A male, no matter how much they want, they can give birth to a baby. But putting aside a few biological small things like that, in society, if you say male and females can do whatever, can both pretty much do the same exact things in society and have the same roles both at home and outside of home, which I agree with. Then at the same time, you say, oh, well, I want to change my sex in order to be this. It could be a bit, I think that's fair. I do think there's it's a bit contradictory. Yeah, it's a bit contradictory. I think too, although, who are making these arguments, not everyone, and those who are making it, those are towards who you say that. But yeah, it does sound to me if someone holds both of those, it is a bit contradictory, I would say. I think so too.
And we are talking about this, like we are talking about when somebody, you're not talking about, as we discussed in the previous video, there are people obviously who are born with both sexual reproduction organs, literally. So we are not talking about those people. And obviously we are not talking about those people who we talked about, which I had no idea about till a month ago, whose brain and, anatomical brain is different than the gender they, me neither. I had no idea about that. So then the gender they represent
too much.
But yeah, we are talking about the more like just other cases, or we are looking into it.
Yeah.
It's something that in media, I think, you're right. It comes across as a bit like that, contradictory. And then I think that's
because exactly, right? So because if you say, if your sex doesn't define your gender, therefore you don't need to have a sex change to be whoever you want, kind of.
Exactly.
But to each their own, do as you wish. I just say this because
don't ask other people to acknowledge that, because the social construct is called a social construct. It's not an individual construct. I can't just come out and say from now on you have to identify me as a tall person.
You have to.
Social aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's what the have to part when legalism law comes into it. But I think as a feminist, that's the thing that makes me and some people uneasy. And Matt Taibbi, I think, that's where some people put their guards up when they're feminist, because, he put it very well, I think. I wonder if you're institutionalizing stereotypes about genders in the same way academics have tried to institutionalize stereotypes about how hard work, being polite, punctuality, and the written word are or I think maybe our white culture. And then she tweeted his own article on the blowback to what is a woman and the differences between men and women. So I think he's right in it, because as somebody who lived in a country for many years, transsexualism and the surgery has been legal and all that in Iran. And there are a number of articles you can look online. It's used as a way to reinforce traditional family values and the traditional family structure of, man and a woman. And it's kind of used as a baton and a sort of a thing against gay people. That, so you are feminine, huh? Because gay people to them is just being a feminine man, basically. So why don't you get, sex change? Or thing. So I mean, that's what makes some people uneasy. But it's a very, deep subject. But these tweets, I think, put out the uneasiness and the fact that this movie is doing apparently very well. And it's very sad because from what I understand, Matt Walsh is a complete hack, not to mention Ben Shapiro, who's again, I don't know, there are not enough words to describe how how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, just very quick before we move on from this tweet. So this article, I haven't read it, sorry. But so I don't know, maybe Matt explained this, but where does this come? In the same way academics have tried to institutionalize stereotypes about hard work being polite. Academics? I've never heard them work. I mean, that's a bit of a weird one. That didn't catch your attention? Like hard work and being polite and punctuality, are those only academic kind of stereotypes? I mean, they're
management academia, not so much probably history and international relations academia. But I think
I don't really.
Maybe you should have said maybe business and academia rather than like,
or just in general society. I mean, those are very big stereotypes of like, of being an entrepreneur, that kind of world. That's where they talk about, hard work. Especially, but I mean, being polite is different. Now, let's move on. That part is a bit, maybe in the article. I think
maybe he's talking about management schools. Maybe, but I don't know.
True. Maybe.
But good point. I don't know.
Yeah, but point agreed.
So,
should we move on?
My headphone might run out, but it might not. So, talking of Elon Musk, he tweeted this, which I found, again, this is why, even though I am very critical of Elon Musk, I can understand the attraction to him because he finds all these veggie issues. And I think it's on purpose because he's a businessman. He's not doing this just for fun. So he tweeted about the Jeffrey Epstein thing, something that we are fascinated by, probably the most interesting story of our lifetime, nobody covering it. But he tweeted this picture, which you put up, and I'm just going to read. Only thing more remarkable than DOJ not leaking the list is that no one in the media cares. Doesn't that seem odd? Things that I'll never see in my lifetime, and then there's a dinosaur, dragon, and a unicorn, and then the Epstein Maxwell client list.
Yeah.
And it's not just the list, just the level of lack of details that has come out of this after his death, and they went to his house and all that. It's frankly ridiculous. And nobody, like, I can't believe Chinese, Iranian, Russian media don't capitalize on this.
That's just if there was documentation,
like Jimmy Dore Gray Zone and Chapo Trap House, and
I'm saying that's if there were documentation, right? Which I'm assuming there must be some kind of documentation and stuff that he kept with different things.
Yeah, I can
so but with the whole thing, even Maxwell's trial, which I didn't follow closely at all, but it was wrapped up very quickly. I mean, I don't know if that falls in the argument, but very quickly. I mean, maybe it wasn't a hard case to judge. That's why it got wrapped up.
The Prince one, and Virginia Giuffre very quickly settled for a contribution to her charity thingy and all that. The whole thing is so fucking shady. I must say, man, even like, I'm not even sure some of the victims are real victims and all that. The whole thing on both sides of it, so shady. All the people involved, including some of the lawyers. And it's ridiculous. Nothing comes like that's exactly like how come nothing comes from the lawyers of not from no one? I guess it's because it's
probably dealing with such insanely powerful people. So I mean,
yeah, exactly. It's
we're talking about
an MI6. So
we're talking about like Bill Gates and Bill Clinton being close to him, right, and having well-known public relationships with him. So
among many, William Baer, the Bill Baer's father had massive connections with them. Not to mention the connections with the Maxwell and British royal family. I just recently found that the Robert Maxwell's grandson, I heard that on the Chapo Trap House episode, was involved. Apparently, was one of the people involved in the lobbying, at least, for Libyan invasion. that led to such great developments in Libya ever since, including a recently refurbished slave market, human slave market in the Middle.
So, but yeah, you're right with your overall thing, though. I mean, Elon Musk, he throws these little. I mean, last year was all about crypto. Now he has these more political
Twitter
things that he tweets about freedom and stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's. Speaking of crypto, actually, the next one is exactly about that.
Exactly. Speaking of crypto billionaires and frankly psychos, yeah. Andrew Yang, apparently he's still active. I thought at some point he's, whatever. His handler, his robot handler, he's a robot, right? Had turned him off because I hadn't heard from him. I genuinely think that banning journalists from Twitter would benefit both journalists and the public, which is, I mean, I assume it's a joke. I don't think he means that seriously. But it's like, it's like, it reminds me so much of when I was a kid and, TV stupid box. You're watching this stupid box, aren't you? Well, anyways.
No, Twitter's not the issue. At Washington Post, there are a bunch of crazy people. The writers and stuff are crazy. I mean, those people.
And I don't care how many moonshine sellers tell you that algorithm is all and great powerful. It's not. It's nothing. Anyway, and then Ben McKenzie, our personal hero, the heartthrob from OC, came like a Prince Charming that he is to save the day, tweeting, Andrew Yang is into crypto, by the way. Weird coincidence. So trying to say that maybe perhaps it's because the fact that, he's has money tied up in crypto that he doesn't like journalism, because I'm guessing a lot of are not big fans of crypto on Twitter. But yeah, I'm glad. And should I move on to the next tweet? Yeah. Then this led me to one of the best retweet comebacks type things. There was one from Walter Bloomberg who tweeted Janet Yellen, about the Treasury Secretary or head of federal, I forget. Anyway, she said, and it's all in capitalized. Yellen says 8% inflation is unacceptable, right? And then Ben McKenzie, this is just perfect. He tweets, has she tried yelling yet? Maybe it goes down. You don't know. And then the tweet underneath is also great. Like all great innovative technologies, crypto is primarily about vibes. It's about vibes, man. It feels right to buy Bitcoin right now.
Hey, Sam, we're waiting, right? I told you today, I'm waiting until it hits 5,000 Bitcoin. I'm going to be buying my first ever crypto. Sorry about that. Sam has changed headphones. But yeah, as I was saying, I have yet to buy any crypto or Bitcoin. But when Bitcoin hits 5,000, I honestly think maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea, because I'm feeling in 2 to 3 years, a little bit more time, we'll forget all the narratives and they'll the same exact narratives around crypto and Bitcoin will reemerge for one reason or another. And Bitcoin being the strongest branding one, as it has been, has such strong brand value compared to the other one, will probably go back up again. But hey, I wouldn't take any business or investment advice from me whatsoever. I mean, whatsoever. I just want to make that clear. Okay, Sam, let's move on to Glenn.
So talking of crypto, I didn't know this, but apparently there's a connection between crypto and recent shootings in the US. So Caroline Bueno, which I think she has put PhD in her Twitter handle, which is chill the fuck out. Anyway, in the manifesto, the alleged Buffalo shooter also linked his anti-Semitism to his support for cryptocurrency, which is not an entirely uncommon pattern. It's based on the idea that blah, blah, blah. So Glenn, being Glenn, and, was on his way to rescue a dog from a, shark attack in the coast of Brazil, as he was doing his, superior run towards the dog, and there was a homeless man he was paying at the same time. He saw this, and so he brought his phone up and he tweeted, "This is a complete lie. The Buffalo shooter devotes paragraphs to why he hates crypto and thinks it's a fraud and a scam, even heaping praise on an anti-crypto article in Jacobin." And then he goes on to say from the manifesto, crypto is complete, quote from the manifesto of the psycho guy. Crypto is completely based on the greater fool theory. I can't explain it any way better than this, linking to the Jacobin magazine. In stars, the entirety of cryptocurrency is a scam, a fraud, a Ponzi scheme, and a waste of money. And then Glenn adds, it goes on and on like this. He hates crypto. So I don't understand, why do you need the like connection to a mass shooter, as if like if mass shooter had said, I don't know, American bonds are not safe to invest, suddenly you think like people, oh no, should I remove my money from, like what are like, or what is this do you think this is a significant strain of thought that, you know,
I know. I mean, like, there's two things, right? I mean, Glenn showed that those don't even bear the facts. But secondly, it's also sure good. Listen, read the person's manifesto and try to see where they come from. But also, we're dealing with crazy people at one level or another. So also, like, don't draw too many conclusions from, you know, from their behaviors and all that, because, you know, they also got up and ate probably breakfast and lunch like other people do and did a bunch of other things. So I mean, when you're dealing with a crazy person, reading too much into where they come from or what they did, I mean, I just think you should be a little bit careful.
You could argue it reflects a distrust in system and any like positions of power that exist, but I don't know, it seemed like a very cheap shot at best, and inaccurate anyway. So you know, that's
crypto's already going down. Don't spend too much of your time trying to kick crypto. Like, it's on its way down, like, badly, but it's as if they haven't realized. For now, at least, it can bounce back. But compared to last year, right now, the enthusiasm, it's safe to say that it's not even comparable. Or the enthusiasm and belief in it, but But okay, should we move on?
Yeah, so moving on to the Queen, Susan Sarandon, as we discussed earlier. But I was just going through Susan Sarandon's Twitter again for juicy stuff. This really stuck out to me because I'm just annoyed by people who have such short memories. But listen to this. Howard Mortman, Jill Biden hosts unveiling of the new U.S. Postal Service stamp that honors Nancy Reagan. Nancy Reagan is the 6th First Lady to be remembered with a stamp. Nancy Reagan was also potentially the first American female president because she was really much more in charge. I mean, it's unclear whether it was George H.W. Bush or whether it was Nancy Reagan. It certainly wasn't Ronald Reagan. But yeah. And then Jason Rosenberg tweeted, which Susan Sarandon retweeted, Nancy Reagan, alongside her husband, ignored the AIDS epidemic and didn't even mutter the word AIDS until 25,000 Americans, mostly LGBTQ people, died due to negligence. There are no words to describe how misguided and repugnant it is to do this, especially during Pride Month. I didn't even think of that, but oh, wow. Yeah. Good. I mean, famously, I think... she cut Hillary, actually, I think also recently had a gaffe a couple of years ago. Hillary Clinton said the things she did for AIDS, and everybody was, she didn't do anything for AIDS. It was breast cancer. No, AIDS. Hillary, again, the programming has gone. But the AIDS program in, Nancy Reagan was a true inspiration for all women.
These people are so pathetic.
Yeah. And there was another tweet, which I try to find a picture, maybe I don't, but there was a tweet in which, again, Susan Sarandon retweeted, which showed another guy who I love, John Cena. He was a wrestler. And I don't know what's with wrestlers being such good people and actors. But there was a Ukrainian refugee to US. And then the mother told her daughter or son, I think it was daughter, that because it was very young, that we are going to US to meet like your favorite actor and superheroes like John Cena. And then John Cena read about that and actually went and met with them. And Susan Sarandon's tweet, that was so cool because, a lot of people talk a lot of shit about Ukraine, but it mostly comes down to give them more money to buy guns. But I really like him. He's very good
No,
on
he seems like a cool guy, and yeah, and seems like a decent actor. But I mean, he
very
came
good
from an
actor, very
acting
good actor.
background, so not too surprised.
Yeah, no, yeah. I guess I definitely should have seen it coming. It's just Hulk Hogan and those guys in '80s who were definitely on coke or something. We thought all the actors that would come up from WWE
Yeah.
or WWF or whatever, they suck. But no, John Cena is amazing. He's amazing. He was so good in the Peacemaker TV show. And there's what's his name? The other one, the one who was in Guardians of Galaxy.
Mm.
He was in Blade Runner 2049, one scene, but very good scene.
Oh, the other actor you mean?
He was also in,
Yeah.
from that background. But I try to find that picture, but if not, trust us that happened. Yeah.
But you managed to bring a picture of Cenk for everyone. Not joking.
Yeah, from the queen to her enemies.
What is he now? I mean, at this point, I think he's become so irrelevant that he's losing his enemy.
He's status as well. Man, that's the whole point. I mean, listen to this. That's why I mean the irrelevancy is quite evident. Biggest downside of Biden administration has been that it has sapped our voters of any hope. Biden got people's hope up by pretending to be in favor of really popular progressive policies. Now that he did nothing, people don't think there's any reason to vote anymore. Yeah. This is the typical thing that Democrats love to say, that the worst thing about this crime is that the future generations won't believe in our rules and democratic values. Go fuck yourself. The worst thing are the people dying in Ukraine, people dying in America because of lack of healthcare, people everywhere dying. That's the worst one. After dying, people suffering, that's the worst one. After people suffering from mental health, like, not physical pain, that's the worst one. Then maybe become something to this bullshit,
and man, listen, Biden is not the first president to not deliver on any of his promises. So if anybody was going to be turned off by this, it would have already happened. I don't know how many election cycles ago, depending on how. And did Biden even promise anything? I mean, he promised the infrastructure. He did promise the infrastructure kind of thing. He said, I'll give it my best shot.
He promised a lot of things, but before he promised all those things, he did say nothing will fundamentally change, which refers to what you just pointed out. When has ever a politician kept their promise? Like, when was the exact... I would like to know. Somebody, please.
So only Cenk was fooled because he didn't. He was saying, "Oh, we're gonna change them from the inside," or I don't know what was he gonna. All the things that he was planning on doing, and that whenever something didn't go, so it's like now we saw the real Democrats. I mean, if as a news analyst it took you 25 years to reach this conclusion, maybe
work at MSNBC and it's still we can do this, guys. But then I was I was looking for something juicier, more eye-grabbing, clickbait here, whatever. But then I do remember after some people call them the squad, whatever, fraud squad, their squad, progressive squad. Or do you remember he said after Nina Turner, we are done with them if they don't do something? Or and apparently they're doing something, and Cenk is highlighting it. Listen to this. There's only one reason you would ask for a pardon: if you knew for a fact that you had committed a crime. Retweeting Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Was it Clyde, Gosar, Gates, Jordan, Boebert, Green, others? Please remind us at Has GOP which of your current sitting members sought pardons after the attack. And that's like literally all she can talk about now. It's January 6th, and what was Latinx? Latinx, a term that is completely linguistically bullshit, and Latin people hate it. People from Latin countries hate it. Most of them, according to polling. Not that polling is accurate. I don't know. But Jesus Christ. You guys, I mean, you shouldn't be done with this squad. Who else can you talk to? Really, who else would really...
I mean, I don't know who I think about less, Cenk or anybody who follows the January 6th. I mean, I'm scared. Like, if I see January 6th, like a headline or on TV, I try to look away because I think, if you see it for a split second, it might brainwash you to death. like immediately. So it's like I'm kind of keeping my eyes away. You know, whenever something happens every few years, the sun is at an angle. They're like, don't look at it directly.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
your eyes
anytime you
get
see
damaged.
January 6th, you have to look away immediately because I
The
mean, I've
no
never
no the
seen
level of
more garbage than
no, no,
that.
it's there is couple. No, you like me, but you're probably worse. You lack really moral foundation and morality. So there is just when you try to watch January 6th, hearing too much morality, too
Yeah,
much morality, too many good people talking about good things and reprimanding bad people. No, no, I can't. You know, as evil people, we can't take this
yeah.
level of goodness coming to us. But I have been told by my friend of mine that if anybody is looking to, get off, a sleeping pill, Xanax, clonazepam, that type of thing, it works quite wonder. You, apparently
Perhaps.
within 5 minutes you're out. There is apparently a high rate of side effects due to people going to coma and straight away. So it's risky, but it puts you down. So
Yeah, seriously, just stay away from that for your own sake. If anybody, for their sanity, stay away from that.
yeah,
What's
yeah. And at the
Jordan?
same And
Sorry.
at the same time, yeah, Fox News is doing their own whole fucking
Yeah.
pizza show trial. We are killing. Oh my God, this is just like a Stalin. Bah! They're such pussies. I'm sorry, but people at Fox and right wingers in general, you're just such pussies. They're like, it's just constantly like, oh, they are white people under attack.
Yeah.
They're trying us. Oh, this is our culture. Oh, fuck. Just chill the fuck
Agree
out.
with
You're
you
just
there.
getting old and dying like the rest of us. Chill out. But then two people went there, Tulsi Gabbard and Michael Tracy, which we like, probably went in there to take shots at Democrats because fair enough, if I have a chance to take a shot at Democrats, I'll go to Fox. I don't give a shit if they're, snowflakes
For
or,
sure.
yeah. So Jordan Chariton saw that. And Jordan Chariton, as an investigative journalist, I don't know why he's obsessed with these things because he used to be in the good camp, but now he's increasingly doing these bullshit tweets. Laugh out loud, lul. Of course, Tulsi Gabbard and Michael Tracy are on Fox News Fantasyland Power Hour. So that's what he said.
Why laugh at that? I mean,
because it's of course they are there because it's fantasy power. They live in a fantasy
yeah.
and
Well,
this was, by the way, from
and I don't really even
Oyen.
know or care much about Tulsi, but I mean,
Michael Tracy,
yeah, Michael Tracy, I know a bit
Tulsi is
more,
a
but
weird.
Tulsi, but this tweet, damn, failed big time
Tulsi
on me.
is a good. I still think she's so after power. She would do anything. Like left should think about that. But anyway, and then Michael Tracy replied, "Wow, thanks for the substantive critique of what either of us actually said. Or are you just having an outburst over a screenshot?" I think it's the screenshot thing. It's not
it's the latter.
And as somebody who does make sometimes unsubstantive criticism, yeah, man, it's not fun. It's not good.
But this is the second time he's done that. Sorry, that I know of. The other one is just he just took a picture of Glenn sitting with Tucker Carlson, and then there was something written.
I think
and there was something written down there on Fox as though it was right, and he just made it seem like either Glenn made that statement or Glenn is there and agreeing with that statement. I mean, I don't know what Glenn was saying or not because they didn't listen to the thing, but neither had he. He had just taken a screenshot of the picture and shown that as the only evidence.
Well, I don't remember that time, but I mean, he's, I guess the substantive criticism he's trying to make is that by going on Fox News, you're legitimizing Fox News, or you're giving them credence on the left, or, you're helping feed the narrative that is bullshit. But I would say bullshit. I mean, you go to raise your base, your supporters wherever you can. If you're a politician or media person, you're not contributing to anything. Get over yourself. Like, how important do you think if Jordan is now on CNN, I'm sure the CNN audience now, oh my God.
Yeah.
Then somebody puts something that I found somewhat interesting. I just informative as Royal Bread de Una said Jordan paired up with the right-wing Hudson Institute over at Breaking Points with Breaking Points. Very strange. Who gets to accuse whom? Is that correct? Hudson Institute is investing. What is that?
I don't know. I don't know. This is something maybe you have to look up. for
Okay.
next time.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
Anyway, that.
but yeah, I mean, you
Right.
can,
I
yeah.
thought you might know,
Yeah, no, I don't. But yeah, I think maybe
but I
there's
wouldn't be
something there.
surprised. I mean,
I
I
mean,
would. They had people from Brookings Institute, but I hadn't seen anybody from Hudson yet. Maybe I don't follow them.
and I mean, Sager is openly a what
Yeah, psycho.
Republican, right wing. I don't know how he. Um,
He's worse than
because
most. I would say he's worse than neoliberals in my view. He's a
yeah, I mean,
conservative
putting all that
reactionary.
aside, yeah, putting all that
He's a
aside,
conservative reactionary.
he's a Republican, and he's
He's
someone who I know he would he's been on the Tucker Carlson show. I mean, he has that picture of him showing the book to him and all that. So I don't know if it's changed his mind on him. Perhaps he has, but at the very least, you can say that Jordan Chariton works with people who find a lot of stuff that are said on Fox News. You know, they're sympathetic to it to an extent. I think that's fair enough to say. I'm sure Sager agrees with some
I
stuff.
never understood. Do you go when you go to your dentist? Do you go to? Do you believe in racism? Do you believe in
I mean, this is different. They're talking
that...
about news and stuff in this era, but yeah, I mean, end of the day, this tweet by him really big fail if you ask me. But hey,
anyways,
let's keep it going.
Now moving on to the fun things, Leah Remini, who you might know from that. What was the sitcom? The King of Queens, was that the one she was in? I think she was in that.
Oh, is she King of Queens? With Paul Bart guy? She was married to the Paul Bart guy?
Yes.
Yeah, she looks different here. Yeah, I recall her.
Yeah, she tweeted this from my favorite fucking show right now, The Boys. She tweeted, Anthony Starr, who's the lead, retweeted this from Lyra. Thank you for the shout out, because there's this scene in The Boys where there's this character in The Boys, a spoiler or alert for people who haven't seen season 1 and 2, that gets kicked out of a big group. Then he has to sort of work his way back, and as a part of that joins a sort of a Christian group as a part of repairing his image. And then the Christian group turned out to be a real super cult, basically like Scientology like. And then he escapes the group and writes a book about how like he escaped the group. And it's just so funny. It's so like, it's very similar to basically what happened to Leah Remini, because she was part of Scientology and she came out, and I think she had a book, and a number of other people in Scientology. And what I found, because, you know, MEK, we talked about MEK, this Iranian terrorist group. They are very much like Scientology, both the time when they are founded. It's almost like parallel thinking and all that. What I found super fascinating in this TV show, the cult leader at some point gets killed and they cover up his murder. And MEK is like that. I forgot to mention that in our MEK video. Please, check it out if you have time. The leader has been hidden for like 20 years or so. And there are reports he's dead. Actually, the ex-foreign minister of Saudi Arabia in one of their conferences said that the late leader, for example, instead of saying he's the late leader. But to this day, they haven't still acknowledged, and his wife is the standing leader, but they don't talk about that at all.
Wow.
Yeah. No, not yes, not no. They don't say it.
Too funny.
So it's so, The Boys is so fucking to the point, man. It's the best.
No, it's a great
if you want to
show.
understand corporate, if you want to understand money and power and politics, it's the best shortcut, probably.
No, I've really been enjoying it. Great show.
Great, yeah. And then Anthony Starr, man, he's so fucking
he's
awesome.
The main actor. I mean, he's the strongest
superhero.
Yeah.
But he's basically the main villain. Yeah. He's the Homelander, actually, not the Homeland. He's, man, and he was, by the way, I've always been a big fan of him. He's from New Zealand. He was in Banshee. I don't know if you ever watched that. It's the most, you won't like it. It's the best pulp television or movie. It's pulp, and pulp at its best, like bullshit. Like some of the storylines are not exactly the best, but it's pulpy. It's the blood, the guts, the characters. It's the cinematography, the fights. It's, by the way, it's a good show. I mean, it's very sexual, but it's not a bad show to watch with your dad. Dads usually love it. The fight scenes, the car scenes. It's so good. 4 seasons. Other amazing actors, the amazing Danish guy. But it's a very pulpy thing. It's one of those things I understand, like a lot of people would consider that crap. Yeah. But he did such a good job in that. And in this, man, he's like, this character is the closest thing to what's his name? uh, Patrick Bateman from American Psycho.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
fucking his
true.
performance is that level. His performance is that level good.
Yeah, very good
And
point there.
so I'm just and his Twitter page just started with a perfect thing as I started to follow him. Better to know nothing and keep your mouth shut than open your mouth and prove it, said nobody on Twitter ever on or Instagram, I guess. Which I should follow that advice, I think. But very, very good. Very good. And then I saw he tweeted a link,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
too
hope you
funny.
and yeah, this picture of Homelander in the I don't know what is that in hot pants. What is this?
Oh yeah, he's wearing some kind of shorts. Yeah,
Hot
they
pants.
look like I don't know what they're
Hot.
called.
But sexy hot pants trying to do catwalk. I don't know what he's doing, but he's the best man.
I
He's
think it's
so
yeah, it's
cool.
gonna be fun. But yeah, I can imagine whenever they only like shoot his upper body, perhaps he can just
Oh man,
wear
he
whatever he
was
wants.
in one interview. He was like, "Oh, for Banshee, I had to do the gym and get fit and stuff. This is so good because I have to wear the costume. It's all padded. I don't have to work out." And so he's just the best. He's like real good. And
No, good.
I think there is something like something is going on with New Zealand, man. People that are amazing. Then we had Carl Orban. He's the other lead. He's the main good guy, I guess.
Yeah,
Not the butcher.
yeah. He has such a like a stereo like I mean I know that they probably do this on purpose, but he has like some kind of cliche stereotypical character thing going on with him, right? Like it's an
He's doing a
homage to
Cockney.
something, right?
Yeah, it's more. It's he's. That's the thing. He's doing a very large, I would say, very busy performance of a Cockney man, but he's also from New Zealand. But yeah, he's
But I mean the character
cunt,
in general, yeah,
evening
exactly, right?
cunts. Yeah,
Yeah.
huh?
I mean like the character, I feel like the character is
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
be like a throwback or something to
It's like
uh,
a
but
hard London Cockney guy. I think. Yeah, yeah. You're right. It's a yeah
and like a bit
stereotypical
of a cliche
trope
like
character.
superhero kind of thing too, no? Like good bad guy from superhero. You don't get that vibe from him. Like I feel like they're doing it there on purpose because he has a bit of like a cliche thing I find going to him, but I feel like they're doing it on purpose and that's why it
Well,
works. So
he has that
you didn't see it that
cliche.
way.
I mean, he has that. He's part of that tradition of a hard man who's drinking, but he's
Yeah.
also tough and fit, and he's asshole, but he loves his family secretly. But I don't think I think he's done in a fantastically
No,
innovative
no, for
way.
sure.
But I don't. But I think yeah, I guess if that's what you mean, yeah, I see it in that way. But there is also a typical character you see in a lot of movies, a
Mm.
cockney tough man
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
oh evening cunts,
yeah.
and all that. So yeah, I think he's doing that a bit too. But his character is so layered
No,
that
for
it
sure.
works, to be honest. Especially if somebody sees season 1 and 2 before jumping in. Anyway, so
And
I
what does
went
it
on
say
his
here? Yeah.
I went on his Twitter, and it just led me down a path that I want to now immigrate to New Zealand because he's talking he retweeted this from Sam Neill, another fucking legend who's again back in the theaters because of Jurassic World. Isn't it absurd? Sam Neill says that. Isn't it absurd that after 65,000 years of history, Australia Day marks the date 26th of Jan when the British dumped a bunch of white fellow convicts on what is now. I'm sorry, but come on. It's a good one, right? I didn't say Australia and New Zealand are a prison. He said it. And then Carl Urban retweeted that and said, as do the Native Americans, many who are on the verge of ethnocide. There are currently mass murder. It's okay. We don't need new words. Currently, 400 tribes not even recognized by the US government and consequently are not eligible for rights of sovereignty and federal funding. I was like, Jesus, who knew that? Did you know about 400 tribes?
No.
I was like, well done, man. Seriously, good issues too. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know what's going on in New Zealand, Ben, but I want to go there and hang out with Sam Neill and Carl Urban.
Great stuff. And you also have a funny picture here of Carl Urban
Sam.
too. Oh no, yeah, Sam Neill
yeah,
first.
Listen to this because Sam Neill has his own vineyard and farm.
Oh yeah.
From what I know, he has and on his Twitter page, he says proprietor of 2 paddocks in the cheering up business since 1993. Also seen acting on occasion. It's He's so good. I love
Yeah.
this man. He's and his name is Sam. Like I went like that was one of originally that was the reason why I liked him.
Yeah.
He developed into it. And then yeah, this from Carl Urban.
Yeah.
Compared Carl Urban at Met Gala and how he shows up. He's showing up in character
Yeah.
in a interesting, fun way, taking the piss basically out of Met Gala and all that with some other people. Yossi,
Yeah.
that's how you take the piss. Even if you want to take the piss, you don't show up with a super fancy dress from somebody who doesn't pay their taxes, saying tax the rich.
No, I feel these are great stuff. Yeah, you can exactly see some people in Hollywood are far more interesting and knowledgeable. It seems that some YouTube political pundits like ourselves, or some mainstream ones, or politicians in general as well. It seemed to know these were great. So okay, these are two guys we need to keep our eyes on for these progressive tweets. Then,
yeah, man, and Sam Neill, Anthony's. I would add that I am the best at political commentary ever, except sometimes when it comes to gun issue, for some reason, I become a psychopath. But yeah, whatever.
No, great stuff there. Okay, brilliant, Sam. Let's wrap this up as we have to go record an interview that's going to drop very soon this week. I think people will hopefully enjoy this, and probably a lot of our viewers are already familiar with the person I'm going to be interviewing. So that's very exciting. But okay, any final words?
Sam Neill for the king. Susan Sarandon for the queen, Sam Neill for the king. They don't have to be married. It's like a job position thing. I don't mean to suggest anything.
All right then. Well, please leave your comments, question, criticism down below. We'll make sure to get to them. If not, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.